Welcome everyone to another live stream, the state of IT or the lack thereof. Often I escape my daily work a little bit with this YouTube stuff, right? Having some more fun at work, and I don't really share that much of my daily IT stuff. But today is one of those days where it's like, why? Security framework, Apple security framework, macOS, iOS, and Apple CryptoKit and proprietary APIs and stuff. And so this is so frustrating. As you know, we have our software, right? Exact code, it's also wrong focus. And exact scan and stuff and PDF, and we need to deal with some crypto stuff, especially with PDFs. And so historically, naturally, coming from the open source side, we used OpenSSL, right? And that worked for 15 years. So the thing is with, well, except OpenSSL, previous security issues and stuff. But so Apple shipped OpenSSL as open standard Apple would do in 2000 or so. Of course, Apple being Apple, that is deprecated. And they somehow kept shipping OpenSSL, obviously some old version with security patches. But they, I think, fully removed it with ARM, Apple ARM Silicon Macs. So we now had to convert some OpenSSL code to Apple security framework or CryptoKit, and boy, is that an ugly nightmare. And leave me in the comments below, what is your experience? So the thing is, and also proprietary APIs, right? The whole industry, my point is not only bashing Apple, what we recurrently pickpocks, right? But also Microsoft and stuff. Why are there not more industry APIs? Sure, we have OpenSSL with its problems, LibreSSL, Botan and a dozen other crypto libraries, right? But of course, Windows, Microsoft, back in that decades, had to do their own stuff, and now Apple as well. Sure, I agree, OpenSSL not amazing, not ideal and stuff, but at least some industry standard. Yeah. Because what is the issue, right? It's my recurring theme here with the grief of the IT landscape, everything peak bugs and proprietary. And the thing is, how much time is wasted with this stuff, right? Solutions were working at Adobe, at us, and so on. But no, we need to spend our time rewriting this stuff for no good reasons. And look at this, right? I looked into this. Some other people we work with at Exactcode couldn't get some stuff to work. So of course, at the end of the day, the CTO or CEO needs to do the shit himself. So just some examples that I can't get to work, right? Some super trivial stuff where I was like, why the freaking heck? And if you Google this, sure, you find some stuff, and this is so trivial. This is good old-fashioned example OpenSSL code, right? I just copy pasted here some examples together. So what this code is doing is, this is some public key signature verification. Super easy, right? This is a mix of C++ with C. Doesn't matter too much. So OpenSSL, right? So this is an implementation with OpenSSL that works. I mean, out of context, right? But so this works, right? Super easy. Some keylang here, string of some key buffer, BIO new mem buffer of some key buff. This BIO stuff of some PEM read. So this is some what is it? So DSA public key, as you see here, right? Reading this from memory here, so key buff. And then SHA-1, this is, yes, of course, other SHAs, obviously SHA-1 not secure anymore. But of course, backward compatibility with old-fashioned PDFs and stuff, or scanners, you still need to deal with this shit, right? And SHA-1, this hash this message, was a message we want to verify, of course, here, C++ string, casting this stuff of some C string, obviously, right? And then DSA verify return value, yes or no, does this hash of this message, is this signed with this, does it match this public key, right? So this is the OpenSSL implementation, and just because Apple is like, yeah, showing us a finger and do this stuff with proprietary stuff. So on Windows, right? On Windows, I looked in our Windows code, and so this is here out of context, just some. So in Windows is also, I mean, even Windows, right? I mean, and this is also the thing, right? Proprietary APIs, you need to do this a dozen times, right? Because each company wants their own proprietary API. But crypt string to binary, a ASCII version, pub key length, base 64 because this is base 64 encoded. OpenSSL I think does it automatically. It's like Windows Win32. You need to do that apparently explicitly. Apparently, I guess. Decode object here of this X509 public key, X509 public key info stuff. And then crypt import this, why is this flickering? Yeah, whatever. Importing this bloody key to the context there of this Windows 32 crypt. Framework creates a hash, SHA-1, this stuff, right? And then eventually crypt decode object extended, then encoding, and crypt verify signature, right? So far so good. And I even tried this the other week, like last week or so already with Botan, because why not? C++, that even the BSI, the German Bundesamt for Information Security, also verified and contributed some report, some backend, some years. So C++, open source Botan library, right? Even some surrounding stuff. This is making some standard string from the keyboard for whatever reason. There's just some surrounding stuff. Not right, because we apparently this whatever vector, some casting, some stuff, containers. You got the idea. Then Botan public key here of Botan X509 loads this freaking key and signature padding. Yeah, so this is some function object of choosing the signature padding, returning whatever for SHA-1. And Botan signature format, Botan DER sequence, obviously also some others. And then Botan public key, verifier instantiating there this class or whatever that is for this key, for this padding, for this format, and then verifier update on this message, and then verifier check the signature, right? So far so good. So this is the code relatively, all of this, the Windows 32 stuff a little bit there, and this Apple stuff I can't get to work. I mean, I spent here all the why did it jump now? Can't Apple peakbugs. And this code also looks ugly. Sure, this is Objective-C, right? Because this is old-fashioned stuff. You can also do this in Swift, and it's a little bit, yeah. But I mean, also like dealing with this. So either you even need to, for some key stuff, sec import. Wait a second. Why is this? Oh no, why is this cursor running? Hello, peakbugs. I can't make this stuff up. Look at this crazy stuff. Either you do Objective-C with core foundation stuff and bridge stuff. Core foundation, the C stuff, or before they had Objective-C. But this is also crazy, right? So how often do we need to write this bloody bridge code? This is also crazy. Either you need to create an NS dictionary with totally ugly casting stuff of this constants of security types of attributes and types and classes, and also this key size apparently a string, apparently, as far as I found, because probably for dealing with Objective-C of not having an integer in this dictionary, I guess. Stupid stuff, but this also didn't even work, right? I think I don't need this. This was for your key CF data. Where did I put this? Yeah, it doesn't matter. So either you do this with that, with or sec item import. So either you need this import export key parameters. This is some version structure. Key use, some CF array, obviously, NS array with objects. Sec key can verify for importing this, like security items import of this key data. This is also some title in case this displays some panel or alert. This is like items and whatnot and stuff. So I mean, so this even works. This code. CF. Also, yes, this is crazy thing. So this returns in CF array or NS array of bridge, toll-free bridge CF array reference. And so this can have multiple keys. Of course, you should check this. In my test cases, even returns one. So this import apparently works. And yeah, also dealing with this arrays of runtime type information is of some type stuff. But this key verification stuff then also doesn't work, right? And the documentation is also like, nah, I don't know. This is also crazy of what we expect. I mean, sure, Apple made some progress of modernizing their stuff. I would argue like this is really old-fashioned. I mean, this is certainly 90s next style of code. And all this core foundation bridge, toll-free bridge stuff certainly doesn't make it better. But also, if you do this in Swift, there are obviously Swift examples for that. As this is a little bit easier to read if you want even more non-standard code with Swift. But these are those days that I really don't appreciate, right? We're like wasting whole days or multiple days of people of dealing with long solved stuff, of rewriting this the fifth time for another proprietary API. Maybe we should just import Botan and ship Botan. Yeah, this fails with error minus 50 or so of user parameter error or something. But like, yeah, also Googling, what do we do then Googling this stuff? The crazy stuff is also that this the security kit is also getting a little bit deprecated, I think, with Apple CryptoKit also, yeah, Apple being Apple, right? Of course, you need a new CryptoKit for that. And the other crazy stuff is also that a lot of this stuff, so I mean, this is relatively newish, right? I mean, iOS 2, because obviously before they also had OpenSSL. I mean, and the crazy stuff is even earlier, like decade-old documentation of Apple is even having documentation with OpenSSL, right? Yeah, eventually Apple introduced a security kit, which somehow, leaves. I mean, a decade ago it left a lot to be desired. Obviously, they added a lot of stuff. This is also since macOS 10.0, but iOS 2. I was like, yeah, I mean, sure, this stuff is a decade old, and but obviously now maybe use CryptoKit, perform cryptographic operations securely and efficiently. But the problem is also the more modern stuff you use at Apple, then you are limited of only supporting the last generations of iOS stuff, right? iOS 13, iPadOS 13, macOS 10, 15. But I looked into this also and was like, yeah, why do you deal with this old-fashioned core foundation bridge stuff? It doesn't even look like that this particular new crypto kit is implementing all good old-fashioned algorithms, right? So if you have to deal with, you shouldn't use this stuff, but the fact is also the stuff is in the wild, right? You still need to deal with devices, connected network devices that implement this, unfortunately, unless you want to throw all the stuff into the e-waste recycling bin. And sure enough, you in any case have to deal with old-fashioned PDFs, and they might be encrypted even if you don't know that they are encrypted, because they might be encrypted with a 0 or like empty string user password to limit printing or editing. So a lot of PDFs that you can open and saying, yeah, they're obviously not encrypted, right? But they are with an empty password for the sole purpose of, I mean, it's crazy, right? You can open this, but PDF viewers and consumers and stuff should honor the user permissions honor them, right? Digital rights management of disallowing copy and paste, printing, and other such stuff. So yeah, it looks like this more nicer library of I don't even want to use it because I'm not a fan of limiting applications to the latest OS releases anyway, but even if I wanted, on a quick glance, it doesn't even look like it. I mean, this overview is so little. I guess it even doesn't implement all the stuff. But yes, this is kind of stuff of, this is why we can't have nice things, right? Everyone implements their own stuff. I mean, even in the open source ecosystem, we can't agree on OpenSSL was the standard. Sure, there have been alternatives, usually like small embedded alternatives nowadays, of course, or C++ alternatives like Botan, which is actually pretty nice. But then even this OpenSSL stuff, they had partially incompatible API releases recently, and the LibreSSL fork, even there we can't agree, right? I mean, it's even our own thing with my microkernel dreams. If we do some new stuff, then it's like, yeah, inventing yet another thing. But in general, it's also, this is another example why C sucks. Sure, this is not pure C, this is objective C. But I would still argue this is why, another example why it sucks, right? All this manual language and where the stuff is not more native, like dictionaries. Sure, this is like somewhat Objective-C native, and if you're new to Objective-C, have this old-fashioned technology, maybe you want to Google this, but I mean, sure, you could argue Next in the 90s made quite some advancements. Maybe for the 90s, it's not even the worst code, maybe it's somewhat reasonable ideas, but this is so much surrounding glue code of all the alloc and all the manual memory or ARC, what was it, automated reference counting, or what's it stand for? And even at Apple changing memory models there for Objective-C because, and in my opinion, Apple fixed this surely exactly for that reason, that it's way too manual open-coded code of all this cast of stuff. But, and this is also, I mean, this is like, character stuff is not nice enough because characters at times signed as crazy as this, and like then even casting all the stuff to U and H because that is the types they use there. And sure, this is certainly also why Apple has redone this stuff. But I would also argue, I mean, if you look on all the surrounding manual coded glue here, I would even argue the C API of OpenSSL from the 90s is not even the worst thing, right? BIO new memory buffer thing there, PEM read BIO DSA pub key, some SHA-1 digit length array, SHA-1 this stuff, and DSA verify. I mean, at least you understand what's going on there. I mean, even the Windows 32 code is already more verbose and sprinkled with Windows 32 complexities. And yeah, long story short, I don't quite, it's also what I said in the beginning, right? Why I started this YouTube channel, spreading some more critical thinking, and also that days like these, right? Wasting a whole day of like, why does this freaking stuff not just freaking work TM? You can't even read so much freaking manual, like this stuff sucks. And this also summarizes what went wrong in information technology and computer science when people can't get reason. Actually, these are the simplest use cases, I would argue, and even that you can't get to work in a day if you don't have the matching documentation example from the vendor or Stack Overflow. And if you just summarize how much time is wasted in companies trying to get stuff to work and redoing stuff for the 5th time just to please the latest API and framework innovation from the vendors, it's something, yeah. Paulo says ARC or atomic reference counting. No, I think it wasn't atomic. It's probably like Objective-C, ARC, probably automatic reference counting. It's probably what I said, right? But as I lost also overview, I think they have in the meantime at least 3 ownership models, and depending on which version and variant you compile this to, I think you had to explicitly compile this with ARC enabled or not, and yeah, auto release pools and stuff. Anyway, leave in the comments what you think. What is your take on this? I mean, I mean, if I would not run my company, the crazy thing is normal programmers could actually be happy, and maybe this is also why some people do not criticize this more, right? This is basically money printing. Like if you are an employee, that basically is a infinite loop work creation mechanism of constantly rewriting, redoing APIs, porting stuff to new APIs. That certainly assures you have a job, or like as a consultant. But not only I as a programmer, nor as a company owner, I don't appreciate this at all. I mean, the stuff was working, it was simple, and this is neither simple. And the stuff should also produce better error messages, and not you get here some NS error, CF error of -50 something, and then there is some like parameter error something. The thing is, we on some of those details, I mean, sure, some combinations work, some others not. The variants we didn't get to work. So much time and money spent on this stuff just to have. I mean, it was working on Intel Macs, right? Just to natively support Apple Silicon ARM Macs, where just because they finally it was deprecated and they finally removed this. And one last anecdote on Intel Macs, on latest since macOS 10.15 or so, whatever code name that was, they already didn't ship OpenSSL, like libcrypto, what that is, visible in the file system anymore. And instead, they have some really crazy mechanism of supporting old SDKs. So I think I didn't find it with find or grab. So Apple must hide this really strangely. So there must be some area where maybe compressed or something, where they keep old stuff, like old libraries, libcrypto, libSSL, libcrypto. And although as far as I remember, on the last year's Intel Macs, you don't have user libcrypto SO, but it must be somewhere because our application kept working. So I assume the Apple runtime of Sandbox container runtime pulls it from somewhere, right? So they must. And I didn't further research that because there is no point in wasting my time with this nonsense. But there appears to be some kind of storage, hidden storage of SDK variants that the linker or Sandbox runtime creation framework pulls this into the application, because it's coming from somewhere that I didn't trivially instantly found where it's coming from. But all I can tell you and it is still, the crazy thing is it's still there. The old binaries of our applications, they still work in Rosetta 2 on an Apple Silicon ARM Mac. Although clearly I can't build it with OpenSSL, and it's clearly not here, right? It's not like if user lib or whatever libcrypto. So that is obviously not there, and it's probably not there in an ARM variant, but it's somewhere there because Rosetta 2 can launch it. So the same mechanism of old SDK and framework variants, and this is also crazy, right? The complexities of modern OS of maintaining a store, like a store of storage, maintaining storage of old SDKs. I mean, it's crazy that Apple removes that so that you can't actively use it or link new applications with, like, for example, a new command line for your homebrew stuff. But although they removed quite some binary compatibility, they still keep it around to have very minimal, I mean, not full binary compatibility with old stuff, but a tiny little bit of binary compatibility. They keep this around, and this probably vastly undocumented mechanisms of macOS of keeping this old frameworks and stuff wrong. It's also, in my opinion, not contributing to the quality, and certainly because people can't, even I would now need to invest multiple hours of investigating where it even comes from. There's no point for me to do so, but also complexities of Windows, previously Windows, also hidden stuff in Windows, secret and hidden stuff, and now coming to macOS, right? macOS now full being with its quirks and features and removed compatibility, but strange compatibility and all this sandboxing. It's yeah. Yeah, people commented some stuff. So leave in the comments below. And the only thing is with my dreams, this is also why, yeah, last but not least, I mean, and the recurring theme of the last 10% you needlessly spend 90% of your time with, and why we can't have nice things, right? The recurring theme of everything peak bugs, strange, buggy, and also with languages, sure, this is an old language, but I would also, and Swift is better, but I would also argue that Swift is, we can actually, could have looked up some Swift example for you. Actually, I accidentally closed, of course, press some wrong button here. I mean, of course, if you Google that, the internet is full with examples, because obviously so the Swift example looks like that. And it's like let option pub key of, but I would also argue, I mean, Swift is better, but I also don't like Swift the most. I mean, it's like the readability of sec key create with data. I mean, beside Swift, not very portable to other systems. But yeah, CF pub data, the option key is CF dictionaries. Yeah. And I'm totally aware of the irony of me criticizing all the proprietary APIs and a dozen security and crypto frameworks were not enough. We need the 25th of those. And then me of dreaming of a better language, a microkernel of like, yeah, a dozen kernels and stuff was not enough in advancing to creating my own. But yeah, leave in the comments below. What do you have here? XF algorithm as CF data is like, yeah, I don't know. The readability of, also know this scroll. Yeah. Let algorithms secure algorithm of EDCSA signature guards. I don't know. I mean, sure, it doesn't have as many. I mean, the explicit bridge CF casts are replaced in part as CF data and stuff. Does it make it that much better that you type as CF data and not parentheses CF data? Yeah. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you learned something. Welcome everyone, and of course you can rewind this and watch the archive. I hope you learned something. Looking for your comments, and don't forget to share and subscribe for the next videos and live streams to come.